Our last couple of videos that I recorded have cut off abruptly. I'm having some issues with Apple and their bullshit scam of trying to sell people more memory when they don't need it. And hopefully this problem is finally resolved. We're going to be taking a look at Wrestling All-Stars magazine from the very beginning in 1983, and we're going to take this all the way up until 1990, and then we're going to look at another publication that spawned off of this, a similar name, and that was Superstar Wrestler, and then that became Superstar Wrestlers. Before we do, just wanted to show one magazine here. I'm not usually one that gets, involved or comments or posts on social media, but when I do, there's always a douche or two out there that likes to think they know it all. I had commented about woman being an apartment wrestler before she was involved in the wrestling business. And of course, many of you know that already. It's not really difficult, but for those who didn't know, May of 83 issue of Sports Review, in the top corner there, on the bottom, is woman, right in color. But not only was she an apartment wrestler, she has gotten one of the biggest spreads of any of the apartment girls. It's either 11 or 12 pages long. I'll just show you a couple here of young woman, also known as the Fallen Angel, Nancy Benoit. I'm trying to fit everything in there for you just quickly. You guys can buy the magazine, or those who have it and didn't know it can check it out yourselves. Just wanted to show a couple of photos here of woman. Like I said, it goes on for about like 11 and a half or like 12 and a half pages. It's something really long. She's real young too. I mean, got to be a teenager there. So there it is. Back to Wrestling All-Stars, issue number 1, put out by the people who gave us the Starlog magazine, which is sci-fi, horror, TV shows, movies, and whatnot. Decided to throw their hat in the ring at professional wrestling magazines. And it was at a perfect time, 1983. It was just about to explode, and they would have a lot of success in this publication. Out the gate, 1983, October, Flair is taken on Dick Slater. Now, the first couple issues of this publication, they have in-action shots. They released Wrestling Scene, Ringside Wrestling. All three publications were to hit real shortly here, all within the few months of each other. These were every other month, and they would alternate different issues. All Stars would eventually become the more of a PWI of the publication, and we'll go to more posed covers later on. But at the beginning, I liked these in-action shots far better. December 1983, Blackjack Mulligan, Mark Lewin get the cover down in Florida, most likely. Blackjack Mulligan on the next issue with Abdullah the Butcher. This is February of 1984, and then they put their first bloody cover here. One of the few early ons had a few matches with blood, and that would all stop pretty shortly. Flair and Harley Race, Starrcade 83, get the cover of April's 84 issue, and Wyndham and Rotundo inside as the full-color poster. The full-color posters were different for those who've never seen it. Here's Woman again now, pre-wrestling business, and she's on her second magazine cover now in 1984, June's issue with Billy Jack Haynes. I'll just pull out a poster. I think I have one of these open. I'll show you the poster. It's a tri-fold poster on the actual opposite side of the cover, which sucks because that means you have to sacrifice your cover of the magazine if you want to hang your poster up. So that didn't stick around for too long before they finally changed that layout, which was a much better layout later on. August 84, Hogan in the World Wrestling Federation with the big green belt. Kerry Von Erich captures the NWA World Heavyweight Championship at the Parade of Champions, David Von Erich's memorial. and this is issue number 7, and this is October 1984. So these go numbered. These go numbered all the way up until 14, and you're going to see a change from 14. It goes back to number 1 again. Could drive collectors crazy not understanding the difference between the two. So as soon as we get there, I will show you the difference. Wrestling All-Stars once again with the fabulous Freebirds making their cover, and from here on out I believe they're going to be posed covers. Oh, I was supposed to show a poster. I thought I had a magazine out of the plastic. I guess I don't. So here's the cover, right? As many of you already know, and inside it is Kevin Sullivan and Woman again. Woman's getting a lot of airtime today. Sorry about the glare, it sucks, but you'll see how it folds out. What a great looking shot of Kevin Sullivan. An even better shot of Woman here. Jesus Christ. Good looking poster. So, like you said, if you wanted to hang it up, you couldn't because you'd be sacrificing the cover, although that shot with Woman like that might be worth the cover getting ripped off for. Dusty Rhodes on the cover of February 1985. We're kind of blowing through these years pretty quick. They didn't start until mid-year of 83, so you're only seeing a handful of magazines, and we're already in our second year. All 3 champions now make the cover of All-Star Wrestling for April of 1985. Hogan, Flair, NWA, and Rick Martel, now the new face of the AWA. How far can he take the company? No further than anyone else, or no less than anyone else either. So, issue number 11, June 1985, and now we have celebrities making the cover of the wrestling magazines. This brings in the MTV crowd, this brings in, and the wrestling crowd together, which turned out to be a very successful formula for both. And the Rock and Wrestling Connection, like it or hate it, was extremely successful and responsible for WrestleMania 1 to happen. The Von Erichs get the cover, number 12, July of 1985. One thing about the posed covers, it doesn't give me much meat on the bone to talk about describing the cover and the match and the grudge match and the feud or whatever it might be. Now it's 1 or 2 guys just posing on the cover, and it's just kind of dull. It's kind of plain. For a wrestling magazine, it doesn't give much room for discussion. But issue 13, Sergeant Slaughter now leaves the World Wrestling Federation after battling with the Sheik, and comes over to help out Rick Martel as champ to help boost the soon-to-be East Coast tour that the AWA would be starting at the Meadowlands for the Pro Wrestling USA television outlets that were all about to pop real soon. October 1985, we got the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, AWA Tag Team Champions on the cover of number 14. So this is where it ends. Yeah, this is where it ends here. Wrestling All-Stars, issue 14. It's the end of that name of the publication. There's a subtle change, and it says Heroes and Villains, issue number 1. And this is the new, it's the same magazine. Nothing has really changed in it other than the name, and they're changing the numbering system. So if you're looking for 15, 16, and whatnot, there is none. There is later on in a couple years ahead, but not in that publication with the name. So it does get confusing, and it does suck for collectors that are trying to search that out. That's one of their biggest problems that they had trying to complete these. Here's Hulk Hogan on the cover with the extremely popular Joan Rivers, another Hollywood icon, making the connection from wrestling to Hollywood. Again, this has got heads turning. It's got Hulk Hogan on NBC, Saturday Night Live, Arsenio Hall, every show from local to worldwide. The WWF has got its brand, and it's tightly securing its grips around the nation, for good or for bad. Villains and Heroes and Villains number 2, Wrestling All-Stars, February 1986. The Rowdy one, Roddy Piper, takes the cover with the bagpipes. Junkyard Dog, issue number 3, April 1985. Macho Man Randy Savage and Elizabeth get their first cover of Wrestling All-Stars. I mean, it's called Heroes and Villains. We're just going to call it All-Stars rather than say the name. You know the first 14 and where the switch is now. So June of 1986, good-looking shot of Macho Man as he makes his way to the World Wrestling Federation. Shortly after WrestleMania, he'll make his appearance, and he will tear up the Federation from the start. Rock and Roll Express take the cover. Issue number 5, July 1986. King Kong Bundy now making his way to the World Wrestling Federation as well. August 1986. Issue number 6, setting up what would be next year's, well actually this year's, WrestleMania 2 against Hogan. Tully Blanchard gets the cover with the National Heavyweight Championship title belt. He will be one of the last to hold that national belt. That will go into extinction pretty soon. It'll get merged in with another title. It may have been the Mid-Atlantic. I'm not sure honestly, but one of 2 or 3 different belts that merged from the closing of Georgia and the blending of Crockett and the Carolinas. They kind of put their belts together, and it got kind of confusing. But they would soon be bringing out the United States Tag Team title. Once again, that was kind of dormant for a while also. Kerry Von Erich, name on the cover, Lance Von Erich's picture on the front, talking about Kerry in the hospital after a car crash, and the Lance making an appearance, his first magazine cover, October 1986, number 8. Good looking shot of the British Bulldogs here with the World Wrestling Federation tag team belts. Always liked the style of that belt, the silver anyway. I don't like the gold. There is a gold version of it later on, but I really like that style. It's kind of unique. No one had anything like that, and no one really tried to copy it. The closest copy to that would be FMW in like 97 or 98. That's, the Japanese Hardcore Federation in Japan. Other than that, this was kind of pretty much its own style for a long time. Dusty Rhodes defeats Ric Flair at the Great American Bash 86, and this is December 1986, issue number 10. So these are all in order. If I don't say the number or the date or the month, just know it's in order, and if I don't say 10 or 12, just go back the magazine before, and that'll be the number if you get lost. Issue number 11, Superfly Snuka, February 1987. Snuka about to leave and head to the AWA and start another chapter of his long career. Just think, what was this, 87? He would go on another 30 years almost in the ring. Jesus Christ. And he's already been in since 76, 75 when he came in with Morocco. What a long career. Nikita Koloff turns babyface after the accident of Magnum TA. Dusty Rhodes pulls one of the shockers of the year, bringing out his new tag team partner, taking on the Four Horsemen for the Great American Bash time. Great stuff there. Starrcade time. Very sad ending for Magnum's career. Rock and Roll Express capture the NWA World Tag Team Championships. This is May of 1987. Hot Rod in a small corner. I really didn't point out, you probably noticed, they always give you a second picture up top, which is a real small one. It's really easy to miss it, and there's usually not much behind it, but the top header usually goes with that photo there. The Fantastics coming out of the UWF after some brutal wars with the sheep herders, and they would be moving their way through the Crockett's in a handful of months after this. July of 1987, maybe another year before they got to Crockett. Number 15, July 1987, and Lex Luger flexing it up on the cover, looking good. Hogan talking about WrestleMania 3 and the build-up to the Andre the Giant match, one of the biggest wrestling events ever at that time period. This is August 87, number 16. Always following close behind the Hulkster was the Beefcake Man, and cut real short, dark hair, got rid of the blonde hair, got rid of the blonde mustache, and went as a Chippendale. Looks totally different from when he was in Memphis, man. What a totally different look. You wouldn't even know it was the same person. Rotundo takes the cover of a wrestling match posed in action shot for the first time since the first 3 issues back here in October of '87 with Ric Flair. Rock and Roll Express get another cover, and it is an exact repeat from this cover. You're getting the same exact thing. The only thing that's different is the background color, and then here is photoshopped in this next issue back here. So it's the same exact thing. You're actually double dipping and not realizing it. If you're a rock and roll fan, you're not really going to give a shit. And if you're a collector, you have to have it. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with a double cover. This is November '87. And Nikita in another in-action shot, which I was thrilled to see because I was thinking now they're going to go back to this full time. Maybe they're going to start having more action shots. And Nikita with Dusty taking on the Horsemen all throughout the Mid-Atlantic territory as the NWA would grow and spread its wings throughout the country and try to compete with the big corporate machine. Sting makes his very first ever magazine cover, and it is February 1988, and the UWF is just about finished, if not already, depending on the dates and when these magazines released in the lag time. I believe they've already made the merger by now, and they are in the Crockett territory, all the UWF guys that they wanted to take anyway. And Sting finally gets his first cover, and of course he's a babyface as he makes the cover, not as a heel. Terry Taylor posing with the old UWF Television Championship, soon to be having a title versus title for the TV Championship in the NWA. Nikita Koloff is holding that belt, and these two would have a title versus title, which will be won by Nikita, and that will be the last time we see the UWF Television Championship belt on a cover. At least we got to see it once. Lex is back out on a cover again, June of 1988. WrestleMania, now they're showing us their first mixed photo collage type of a cover that would become the mainstay in the years to come above. But not so much for this publication yet, but trying to fit everything they can from what happened in the WrestleMania 4 when Macho Man takes the title. Would have much rather have seen Savage on the cover with the gold belt rather than a mixture. The Fantastics now take it to, they went to World Class, and they become the World Class Tag Team Champions. Unless I'm looking at that wrong and it's the Caribbean Tag Team titles. I don't think so. The Fantastics take the cover, issue number 25, October of '88. And also Bam Bam Bigelow makes his way to the WWF coming out of Memphis after a sweet little brawl with Lawler. Ric Flair back as the champion once again on a cover here for Wrestling All-Stars, December 1988 as we close out the year, moving into 1989, and the Hulkster gets the cover. Issue number 27 we're at right now, and Hogan and Savage about to kick off a solid one-year war that would go on for several years, depending on the companies that you watch and the different programming when they went to the WCW and shit. That would be a feud that lasted quite a long time. Number 28, April 1989, finally, the long-awaited Road Warriors capturing the NWA titles. Everyone thought they would have the titles a hell of a lot sooner than they did, especially because they've been with Crockett on and off while they were still AWA champions from since '85, and now it's finally, deep mid-April, so halfway through 1989, and we're finally getting the Road Warriors with the World Tag Team Championship belts. One could argue that they were the All Japan Tag Team Champions, which they were, and at the same time, and also the Six-Man Tag Team Champions with Dusty. Not exactly sure when that came. That came out around this time, within the last 6 months, give or take. Savage gets the cover once again on June 1989. Hogan and Savage on the cover from WrestleMania 5. Full coverage of Hogan regaining the title now for, was this his third time? I don't know. No, I think it's his second, right? Yeah. Who really cares? It's Hogan. August 1989, another shot of Hogan. Is Hulk doomed as champion? I would think not. Hulk would have another extremely long career from this point on, gathering way more championships as he went. Brutus back on the cover again, following once again behind Hogan, and almost the same, probably is the same photo because he's wearing the same exact clothes. A lot of times they will dupe you and put two covers out, separate, a few months later without having to change photos. And Wrestling News was like notorious for that. Ric Flair on the cover, getting ready to start a vicious war in the NWA with longtime foe Terry Funk. And this will lead up into the bashes and beyond. This is issue number 34, December 89. As we move in now to the new decade, Superfly, Jimmy Snuka. Is that right? That's April 30. Uh-oh, I'm missing an issue. Shit. God damn it. Sorry, guys, I didn't think there was a big jump from the last issue from December, and then it goes to April. Number 35, it might be back here somewhere. I'll look for it. It might just be out of order. Oh, wait a minute. No. It's not incorrect. This is the last issue. This is 1990, so I'm complete from 83 till 90. So this was the last issue in 1989. The magazines beyond 90 that I have complete are few. Well, I shouldn't say few. Every Stanley Weston publication that he was released up until 1993, I have complete. I have all of Wrestling's Main Event complete through 93, but not everything. This is, kind of where my interest in wrestling had changed a lot and just wasn't really, you guys know me by now, that wasn't my thing, 90s wrestling so much. So that's where it ends. That'll get you complete up until issue number 34. 31 through 34 ended. 1990 starts 35 and up. I do have a couple straggler videos from the 90s I can show you. This is September's issue with the Demolition on the cover. Cool looking shot of them too. Getting ready for Halloween time with the orange and black and the face paint for the September issue. Roddy Piper gets the shot for issue number 44 in 1991. Hulk Hogan back on the cover, very bloodied up after regaining the title from Sergeant Slaughter, issue number 46 in 91. September of 92, Macho Man Savage takes the cover as WWF champion. And where are we here? Number 86, quite a big jump. 1996. Oh, here's the Headhunters down here. I was just telling you about the FMW tag team belts that were very close to looking like the WWF belts that the Bulldogs had earlier on. And there they are on the front cover. Not very much coverage from the FMW in America, so that's really cool to see that for fans of the hardcore genre of wrestling. To see that, that's a rarity. You hardly even got ECW coverage at this point, but they're showing some FMW, which is pretty cool. The Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, back together on the cover, wrestling. Now, if you notice, the font had changed too. Heroes and Villains is written under here. I'm not sure exactly when that changed, but it's no longer a little tag on the side. So just notice that subtle change. If you got so used to looking for that, it's no longer there anymore. Sting, Abdullah the Butcher gets the cover. Wow, where did he come from? Yes, he was still wrestling too. Quite a few more years after this, actually. This is April of 1998, and Abdullah on the cover. Sting manages to capture the WCW World Tag Team Championship all by himself without a partner. Sting holding 2 titles with no partner, doing it all himself after defeating the Giant and somebody else. Stunning Steve Austin, one of the Hollywood Blondes, on the cover as a champion of something there. I don't know what belt that is. Wrestling All-Stars also put out several bunch of publications called Scrapbook, which is all color pinups. So these are great if you love the color pinups. It gives you an example of what pinups are inside of the magazine on the cover. I don't know how many there are. I have the first couple, maybe 3 or 4 or whatever. Wrestling Scene put out their own, Ringside put out their own, and All Stars put out their own. So there is 3 different publications for each Scrapbook as well, and a photo album. So it gets kind of crazy and confusing. And they're also numbered. So this is Wrestling All Stars Scrapbook Volume Number 1. The date is not showing. It looks like 83. Could have been released in 84, judging by Superstar Graham's look and the Road Warriors look there. And yeah, I'm going to say it's like 83, late, early 84. Scrapbook number 2. And again, I got no date, so I'm sure it's written inside the actual date. That's number 2. This is issue number 3. On the cover here, gets his first cover on a wrestling magazine is the Dingo Warrior with the Texas Heavyweight Championship belt. And of course, we know he become the ultimate idiot in the WWF. Another Scrapbook, volume number 6. And this is the Wrestling All-Star Scrapbook color pinup posters. So this is another one, and it comes with posters inside, which is pretty cool also. And this is the giant poster pinup book from Wrestling All Stars, and this is, like I said, another offshoot of the 3. So All Stars was very busy putting out a lot of stuff, and what was selling it all from the 80s was all the color you got, because you weren't getting that unless you bought the Main Event. Stanley Weston's issues were still dominantly black and white. It was up to the Starlog people and George Napolitano's editing and publishing with the photos of all this made all that happen. So we got some awesome color when other companies weren't giving it to you. This is number 13, giant. This is all nothing but giant posters. You really don't need this. It's not a magazine. It's just posters. There's no articles inside, so it really isn't meaningful to a magazine collector, but if you want it and you got to have it, I get it. Wrestling Superstar, Superstar Wrestler. This is a photo album. I should have probably showed these last. A new publication was about to come out called Wrestling. I'll just take this out. Wrestling Superstar Wrestler. And I'll discuss those posters again in a minute. It's nothing different. It's just a giant photo album with almost like the Scrapbook, but the magazine is like 2 inches wider and taller. So it takes up a lot of space, and it doesn't go well with your other piles. If you're a maniac trying to keep things neat like me, it's going to annoy you, things like that. But, it's a little bit too big. I'd rather have it bigger than smaller, though, what was to come later on, because that was an atrocity. Superstar Wrestler, put out by Starlog. First issue, June, and this has got Hogan on the cover. And this has got way more color. It's got all glossy paper. No longer is it the the newspaper type paper and stuff that's gonna be built to last. Not that the magazine print's any worse, because I got issues from the 40s that are still holding up. So it's all about how you preserve them, honestly. But this paper will last forever. Magnum TA takes the cover of issue number 2, and this is July's issue. And this is 86, by the way. I should have said that sooner. These are 1986. This is when the first street date, when this hit it was June. And 86, so now you know. Okay, issue number 2, it'll say it right here. It'll say July somewhere, or right here, but no year. Years are all inside. So here you go. This is issue 2. Issue 3, with the Road Warriors winning the Crockett Cup. And this is also about to make a change in a few minutes with the name. So hang tight, and I'll try not to bypass it without catching it first. The next issue, September, Kerry Von Erich gets the main cover of Superstar Wrestler. Rock and Roll Express and the Fantastics switch their roles around, one with the other, rather than 2 up and 2 down. Could be eye-catching for a second. October of 86, Superstar Wrestlers. Ric Flair gets the cover after regaining the heavyweight championship once again from Dusty Rhodes after Bash 86. Hulk Hogan grabs the cover of January 87's issue here. Ringside Wrestling. Where the fuck did this come from? Another wrong issue. Damn it. I'm really off my fucking game today here. What is this? Issue number 37 from Ringside. I really needed issue 8, which 8. The Rock and Roll Express on the cover with the World Tag Team Championship belts. Sorry guys, I missed you on another one. I should get an F for this video. Damn. It's so confusing. It's so hard finding everything. And I don't keep my upper 80s stuff together. I kind of have it scattered because I really don't care about it. You know, I'm more like, you know, the 70s shit. But no excuse. I should have been more prepared. I will show both of those magazines in the beginning of the next video. That's actually a really nice cover, by the way, too, with the Rock and Roll on the cover with the belts, too. A lot better than this looking one here with just the yellow background with the hot rod. March of 87. I will show that, like I said, in the next video. Paul Orndorff also gets the front cover of Superstar Wrestler. Andre the Giant. There's about to be a change somewhere up here soon. May of 87. I'm not sure which the last issue was. June 87. Good looking shot of the Road Warriors on the cover. Okay. All right. So this is the last issue. And now July. Now the numbering system is going to stay the same, I do believe. Yeah, this is issue number 13. And what the change was Superstar Wrestlers. They added an S to the name. It can be tricky when you're trying to search online for them and you leave the S on, leave the S off. Some search engines are sensitive. Some will get you where you need to get. But it's just good to be aware of the change there, that the name of the title, although subtle, but it's still a change. And this is the first issue under the Wrestlers title with Wyndham and the Rock and Roll Express. Hulk Hogan gets the cover talking about WrestleMania and Hogan flexing it up on the cover. September 87, Nikita Koloff on the next issue. And this is number 15. Number 16, Luger in a war with with Nikita Koloff. This is after Nikita will come back with this storyline several years later and come back as a heel again in the WCW. And that was he was there to present Luger with the new United States belt. And as he goes to present him with it, pulls a swerve and bashes Luger in the head with the belt and then turns Nikita instant heel again, and much better as his heel role than he is as a face. You know, the baby faces are only as good as the bad heels. If you're a good heel, it's going to make the baby face look really good. And this is one of their first covers, actually showing a match, great match from the Great American Bash, and Hawk taking on Flair. And this has got full coverage of the Great American Bash in color with posters. Good issue. It was one of my favorite ones from the Superstars line. Superstar Billy Graham getting a cover for the first time in a long time. He would be on a couple Championship Wrestling magazine issues. Maybe Wrestling Power was the other one that put him out on a few times. But making his way back to the WWF in December's 1987 issue, we're getting a look at Superstar once again, decked out with all the color, gotten rid of the karate gimmick. And it's good to see the Superstar back on the cover again. Superstar Wrestlers, once again with the Road Warriors, of course, who were red hot and always selling magazines. Macho Man Savage, April 88's issue, gets the posed cover for this one. May of 88, Ric Flair takes the cover of Superstar Wrestlers, and a big profile here on Eddie Gilbert for Eddie Gilbert fans. It's a must grab. See some Eddie in action in color. 52-page giant issue number 23, Superstar Wrestlers. Is Hulkamania dead? Not so. Demolition takes the cover of July 84, formerly Crusher Khrushchev, formerly Barry Darsow, and then back to Barry Darsow, and then a whole bunch of stupid stuff in between all that. Crockett Cup Chaos, Sting and Luger take the cup, August of 1988. Honky Tonk Man about to go back to Memphis pretty soon, and this is September 88, another year or so. Sting on the cover, November 88, issue number 27. Nikita Koloff back here with hair. Not a good look. gone is that vicious look he had, the mean face. Some people just have the perfect head to be bald, man. I mean, wow. And then some dudes, will just leave it and not shave it, and probably should have, be bald and proud. Fuck everybody. But that's not a good look for Nikita Koloff, especially we're so trained into seeing him looking like this bald-headed madman from Russia. It looks like, he could bite through steel nails. He's about 60 pounds lighter. I know a lot of personal things were going on with his wife and at home, and God bless the guy. It's a sin. I would never be able to survive what he went through watching my wife go through that. That's horrendous. But he is back. He's back in action. Not quite the Nikita that we remembered, but he'll be back in just a few short years. Number 28 here, December 88 issue. And the Ultimate Warrior making his appearance on Wrestling Superstar Wrestlers for the first time since becoming the Ultimate Warrior, dropping the Dingo Warrior act, which is basically the same kind of makeup, just more flamboyant and more cartoonish and more eye-catching for sure. Dingo was kind of flat, kind of plain. Hogan and Savage squaring off on the cover here. Number 30, and this is April of 89. I'm not sure how far I go with these. If I go into the 90s or not, I might, because we're almost there now. And it looks like I still have quite a few to hit here. Number 31, Jake the Snake and Andre take the cover for a match, which is cool to see again. The War of Hatred, July of 89. Hogan and Savage. Big Ray Traylor and Hulk Hogan get the cover as the Boss Man. No longer is he Big Bubba, but Big Bubba will be back. And let's see, the September of 1989. And it's got a real small picture here of Flair and some championship belts. And of course, like a moth to a light, my eyes rush right to that. I'm saying, what belt is that? That's not Flair's belt. And turned out to be a trophy belt that he received for a banquet, and they gave him that belt for Wrestler of the Decade or something like that. I couldn't remember the exact name of that. I'm sure it's inside that issue. Number 34, January 1990, and yeah, I guess I went pretty far past 1990 here. I didn't realize that. August of 1990. I may not be complete every month, but you can just look at these as the remainders. As I'm looking here, so I know. Yeah, number 47. This is 92, so I don't have them all. These are just going to be some random shots as we go along here. Kind of a mess. The cover is like really flashed and just words everywhere. There's bodies everywhere, and it's hard to focus on one thing. And I was not a fan of these kind of magazines. Flair, this is an old picture back from the 87 issue we looked at, Flair having the belt under his arm, and it's even getting harder to see the dates. February 1993, number 50. Hogan pulls out a miracle in WrestleMania and captures the title once again when it changed like twice in one night or something. I don't remember. I couldn't get through the first 15 minutes of that Mania. I really can't get through the first 15 minutes of anything after 3, to be honest, but I wouldn't tell you. I forget who he beat, Bret Hart, Yokozuna, I don't know. November 84, number 57, and the Hulkster saying he wants Ric Flair. And the unthinkable is about to happen. He's about to come to the WWF, and they're really going to stroke it off and blow an opportunity when Flair made his appearance there. But some years later in the future, they will meet again somewhere else. Big time jump now, up to 1990, Macho Man with the WCW World title on this newer style of Superstar Wrestlers. This is number 15. Okay, so the issues must change again. Number 15, wow. See, this is beyond my pay grade or my interest or my intelligence. So I really didn't care for wrestling too much, especially the WWF at that time period. So I'm not the guy to walk you through any of that stuff. December of 91. This is really out of order. Oh, this is a different magazine. TV Wrestlers is another one. You know what I got in here? Actually, I didn't even realize that. Here's a bunch of different publications that Starlog put out, and I kind of had them all put together. So we're just going to go through a couple different other publications that they released. So here is another one called TV Wrestlers, and I got a few of those. Here's ones with the Road Warriors on the cover. Good looking shot of the Warriors. Another one, TV wrestlers. This is 94, Bret Hart as the WWF champion. Probably the single greatest wrestling magazine of all time. Hogan, Savage, and the fucking Renegade, man. That is incredible. Look at this. Unbelievable. I totally love that. I loved it because it was a slight against the Ultimate Warrior and all the fans, and this kind of come out and makes a, you know, from anyone looking at it, our age group down, you know, who is a schmuck? But I think even half the kids thought the same thing. It was so bad, I had to love it. I mean, it was just incredible. If I find anything with that dude on the cover, I buy it, which there wasn't much. But are you kidding me? The guy beats Arn Anderson for the TV title? Holy Christ. Piper taking on NWO Hogan here in 1997, May. Good looking magazine cover. Sting gets Hogan in May of 98 for their title change out for the TV wrestlers. TV wrestlers, another magazine would spawn from another company, I believe. I don't think this is the same company. I'm looking for the Starlog logo and I don't see it. So this is the premiere issue of Toxic Wrestling. Whatever that means. It's toxic. Another issue of Toxic. I don't have many of these. I think that's the only ones. Starlog now, you see the logo here with the S here. Usually that their logo is on the front of a lot, but not always with the S. It'll have a circle with the Starlog name, but this is pretty out there for the Ultimate Wrestling Magazine. It's the Ultimate. A lot of color, a lot of busyness, a lot of just scattered people on the cover. Not a fan of that particular look. This is Toxic Wrestling Presents Wrestling 2000. And there it is. I guess it says it all. It's just another continuation on the super popular cash grab train that everyone was riding on when wrestling from 96 to 2000 was extremely popular, and everybody was putting out a magazine from anywhere you can think of. Another publication, Wrestling All-Stars Pile Driver number 130. Holy Christ, there's 130 of these? I only know of maybe this one. But yeah, there it is. You're just your Joe generic magazine with, you know, not much substance or behind it or anything that's, you know, of any value for a wrestling fan for historical purposes. I would have gotten behind this had I known about it more. Wrestling Hardcore. And this is, again, also by Starlog. Cactus Jack Manson gets the cover. He's a icon after coming out of the IWA King of the Death match, and brings that same, well, not really the same ferociousness, but a watered down version of it to the WWF. I mean, he did a lot of stupid stunts, but I mean, the matches and the blood matches that he did in Japan were freaking unmatchable, unbelievable. Cactus Jack here. And we're going to end this video with two of the greatest wrestlers to ever step into the ring, Hulk Hogan and The Rock. And this is called Wrestling Rumble, another publication by Starlog once again. And this was, I think, Mania 18. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember. The WCW hasn't been finished. McMahon puts his filthy, greasy mitts all over the entire map of professional wrestling, and companies start folding left and right. The good thing is independents also popped up left and right. You just got to know where to look to find them, because the magazines sure as hell weren't telling you about them. All right, people, good looking look back on Starlog's hand in professional wrestling and some of the magazines that they put out over the years, and we'll see you guys on the next.